Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We are glad to be here again with you. It's been a long summer. We're almost at the end. Wow, it's hard to believe. But we're glad to be together for Shabbat for the next short while to relax, to bring the week to a close, and to create an opportunity for us to just rest, become restful, and be part of a community in prayer.
Please join me in singing a nigun. The word nigun means a wordless melody. So you don't have to think about the words this time. Just the word lu. Lu, 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 lu,
Such a beautiful way to begin Shabbat. We also begin Shabbat, as always, with the lighting of 2 candles, Shamor and Zachor, and by having 2 candles, after which we will say the blessing together.
Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Neshama Yetera. Our tradition speaks of a very interesting phenomenon concerning Shabbat. During the week, everyone has a neshama, a soul. But on Shabbat, we receive a neshama yetera, an additional soul. This suggests that there is some kind of undeveloped facet of personality, a spiritual dimension, of which we remain unaware in the normal course of events. On Shabbat, we are given the time to enrich ourselves by developing or creating this extra spiritual dimension.
Yismechu v'malachutecha. We will rejoice in keeping the Sabbath. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'koreh, oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'koreh, oneg Shabbat. Mekadeshei Shvi Shabbat, Kulam yismehu v'yitangu mituvecha Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'koreh, oneg Shabbat. V'hashvi Ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat, Chemdat yamim, oto karata Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'koreh, oneg ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
And now we turn our attention to the prayer that signifies to us the very core of our prayers, the Shema, declaring the oneness of God.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. And now a prayer for those who need healing, whether that be spiritual or physical. In my darkness, be a light to me. In my loneliness, help me to find a soul akin to my own. Give me strength to live with courage, and give me courage to draw blessing from life, even in the midst of suffering, to hold fast against the storm, and to smile at a loved one's glance. We take a moment or two of silent meditation and think about the prayers that are in our hearts. מי שברך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. It's been an interesting summer, at least in my household. Throughout the weeks of the summer, we decided to do a little bit of work on our home, and most of what we did included finishing touches and refinements to a house that was originally built in the late 1800s. As I have come to learn, Living in an old house means there is always, always something that has to be worked on. Well, one thing that we gave some particular attention to was the railing up the staircase and across the open hallway at the top. I was giving it a special cleaning and noted how beautiful it was and how high it was when I stood up to do the top. I thought about this, about modern home construction and the need for safety, not just for the occupants, but for anyone else who may be in our house. One source of that obligation, it occurred to me, was from this week's Torah portion, Parshat Ki Teitzei. So in general, this parsha is filled from the beginning to end with a variety of rules about how we are to treat each other as well as all other living creatures. Specifically, though, in Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 8, we are told that we must build a parapet for the roof of our home so that no one will fall. You can see the connection to having a good sturdy railing that's tall enough so nobody will fall. I wondered, though, how likely is it that someone would be on my roof anyway? Maybe they were a trained builder and we had a leak, but generally, why would they be up there and why would I need to build a fence for them around my roof? I thought about it a little bit more, and I consider the construction of houses in the ancient world. You might not know this, but they were often built with flat roofs. Those roofs would provide an alternative space for people to gather, as some may have seen even till today in parts of the world where a flat roof is often what is constructed over a house. So then I began to ponder that responsibility, that it was to provide that space, one that we weren't so likely to use, and yet it needed to be a space that was safe and represented security should someone be there. But I wondered, though, why is it the person who owns the home and not the person who decides to go up on the roof? Isn't it the visitor who should be aware that if they step too far, too close to the edge, that they're going to fall off? But the Torah seems to teach us that it is the responsibility of the homeowner to put a parapet, a kind of fence around the roof to ensure safety for all who may be up there. Well, the Torah, and this Torah portion in particular, comes to remind us of this kind of obligation in many ways that we have, not just to care for ourselves, but also for others, even a total stranger. It's not only about the safety on top of a roof, but also about a whole host of things that seem to perhaps be lesser of importance or greater of importance, like care for captives, people that are ill-treated and how we must change the way that they are treated. In the Talmud, the rabbis came to teach us the principle, Kol Yisrael Arevim Zeh Bazeh, that each of us is responsible one for another. Sometimes we do see the best of humanity come through on a large scale, such as rescuers that we found toward the beginning of the summer around the collapse of a building, or firefighters who go out into the wilderness to try to stem the horror of fires and protect homes and property from being burnt down to the ground. But it is on other occasions, numerous other occasions, it's the smaller times that it's not about the public gestures of one to another, but rather about what one does simply for the other in the spaces that each of us occupy. It is the way that we act one to another that truly makes the difference in the world, that the way we reach out, the way we hold up another who may be shaking or fallen. For each of these acts, we come together and together thread a fabric of life that becomes a stronger space in which we all can occupy in safety and well-being. Shabbat Shalom.
Please join me as we end our Shabbat prayers and songs with Maya Hayom, how lovely is the day. Maya Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom, Shabbat Shalom.
another Shabbat time together. What a blessing to be together with you. Just before we leave you, we're going to share the blessings of Shabbat. First, the blessing over wine as we sanctify this beautiful day.
Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. L'chaim.
L'chaim, amen.
Mm.
And of course, it would not be Shabbat if we did not have a beautiful challah. So we see this twisted loaf of bread, and we say together,
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. B'te'avon.
Such a sweet taste.
That's good.
We wish everybody a sweet and delicious Shabbat, and look forward to seeing you again.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.